Hi there, I am Lilian and I'm going to guide you through the process of doing the user acceptance testing of your Planet 4 domain. This activity usually happens by the end of your deployment phase before doing the launch of your site, and its purpose is to give an official sign-off or acceptance of the product you received. This testing takes place in JIRA. So in order to access JIRA, you have to go to jira.greenpeace.org. And by this time, you should already have an account. If you don't, please request one to the Planet 4 team, and you log in. It could be that you see something different here, but this is not important now. You should go straight to the boards. Here I see my recent boards that I've visited, and I see the Planet testing is there. It could be that you don't see it here because you haven't visit any boards recently since it's your first time. Could be, maybe you were already a user in JIRA, but okay. If you don't see it here, you go to view all boards. When you go to view all boards, you should make sure here is all boards selected, and then you look for the Planet testing one. If you don't find the Planet testing board, it could be that you haven't, that you don't have access to the project, and that's something we missed. So please also request it because you should be able to see it. If you go to the board, you should see here some tests. It could be that you see something different and you see more in the in progress column or more in the in done column. So, but you will see some tests here. You should also see in the quick filters on top some NROs here. Currently, we have a few only. By the time you do your UAT, your NRO should be listed here, but if it's not, please also report it to the team, and we'll make sure the quick filter is created for your NRO. For this tutorial, I'm gonna take as an example Netherlands. So I'm gonna filter the tests that are assigned to the Netherlands representative. In this case, is Berit. And all the other tests that were assigned to other people should not be shown. So now I see that only the test assigned to Berit from the Netherlands. You should see that every card has an identifier, the title of the test, and the status of it. If I click on one of these, I should see a quick view here. But for this exercise, I'm gonna open it in a new tab. You can't see my tabs, but it opened in a different one. So now I switch to the tab of that test. I created in a different tab so that it's easier for me to go back to the board. But okay, now I am in the test. You should see here a brief description, the steps for the test to be executed. And below that, a test execution section. You should see here a test cycle related to your NRO. If you don't see it, please also report it to the Planet 4 team, but this should be created in advance before you start your UAT execution. So here I see one has been created already for the Netherlands. It says round 2 because sometimes it says round 1 because sometimes a round 2 is needed, or even a round 3 if there are some tests that fail. But in this case, it's gonna be the first one. So in order to start the execution of the test, I can click on this button, Execute Test. When I click on it, I should land in the execution page of the test. And I see here I am able to update the status of every step. As I start executing the test and the specific step passes, then I can adjust the status here. Pass if it works as expected, fail if the expected result is not the same. WIP stands for work in progress, which means it's a step that it was included in the test because that's how the feature is supposed to work, but it's not ready there to be tested. I don't think you will set this status for many steps, but in case you find something like that, you can use this, or blocked in case the step is failing due to a previous failure. For example, if this one failed and I can't execute this one, it doesn't necessarily mean that these ones failed, but these ones are blocked. You see? So it's just to give more information to us to see why the following steps could not be executed. But here you will see a comment column where you can also specify more about the failure that you're seeing. For example, I do not see the pages link, but I do see whatever, maybe you can give more information there, and it's useful for us to know what's the issue and how to solve it. What are you expecting? For the following, it's not really needed. Here you can link bugs, but I think, well, this is better to leave it for us because it could be that some of these failures are not really failures, but the feature working as it was designed. So you should only focus on the status column, and that should be enough. Status and comment. Well, comment just in case if you failed the issue. So once you update any of the status, you'll see, well, when you finish executing this, for example, let's assume that this test passed every step of this scenario. You will see here that automatically the status of the whole test will be marked as passed. So I just confirmed that, and I can see it reflected here. It is also reflected my name and the time of the execution, and that's it. If I failed one of these steps, this is not updated automatically, so it's good if you come and just fail the whole scenario. We fail the whole scenario if we have at least one. So if you have one, you fail it. If you have two or more, still you fail it. And then whenever it's done, you go back to the test. You go back to the test, maybe clicking here. Yeah. And you can see in the test execution that the status has been reflected. Okay, I forgot a small thing. Before you go and do the execution, you can click here on Start Testing. It doesn't matter when you do it. The only thing that changed is that when I click on Start Testing, the status is changes to in testing. So in the board, I can see that Berit is already executing one test. So from the status of pending testing, it changed to in testing, and that's it. But if you forget to do it like I did, and you go back and you go and proceed with the execution first, there's really no problem. The only thing is that after you execute all the steps, you come here and you have to update the whole test if it passed or failed. So in this case, okay, I failed it, but let's assume, well, if I failed it, I just click on test failed, and that's it. I have nothing more to do here. The status changed to pending fix, and then in the column, in the board, sorry, it is moved to done. So the done column is not only showing the tests that passed, but the tests that have been already tested. And here I can see the status. And then when all of these are finished, then I can go here and review the status of the ones that fixed and your comments of why it fixed. And then And then we can do a second round of the ones that failed. Sorry. So that's it. That's it for the training. A very short and straightforward, I think. It can be a bit confusing, JIRA, because of all the options it offers, and it's not so user-friendly interface, but I think the few steps that we need to perform here are clear. So just for reinforce what I just said, I'm gonna go with the second test and execute it as well. So I'm gonna open in a new tab, this second one. Before start my execution, I click on start testing. Then I scroll down, I see my test cycle here and click on execute. I go and pass all, well, I go. Remember that all these steps have to be tested in your staging site because we don't want to create test content in your production site. So please make sure you do it in your staging site. Let's assume I already updated all of these and I go back to my test and I click here, test passed. And that's it. I go and repeat the same with all. And as you can see, it's just a few scenarios. It's not that we are covering the whole functionality of the platform, but it's, I think, a few scenarios that are really fundamental to work in Planet 4, like creating tags and categories, be able to navigate through the header, be able to create 404 pages, cookies, text, new user. It could be that by the time you see this tutorial, the scenarios have changed a bit according to how the product keeps evolving, but the process behind it will remain the same. Go to the test, click on start testing, execute, do the execution. Here, oh, okay, so in this test, for example, you see 2 executions, but it's just the history. So you just make sure you click on the one related to your NRO, and that's it. After it, I did click on start testing, I think. So after it, you just update this, and that's it. Whenever you're ready, whenever you're done, please flag your the implementation coordinator, and so that we can go on and review the test results. And that's it. Thanks for watching.